Hello and welcome to Boomer Live once again, ladies and gentlemen. And here we are live talking about the third day of this play. As you all know, it's been accelerating 2 days of game, and the third day as well. As we predicted, things have gone pretty interesting. And we wanted India to get England all out earlier on, and that's exactly what has happened. And England was bowled out for 319, and it's been a brilliant first session for play for India. And since then, India never looked back, and India has had a great start for day three. And from there on, Yashaswi Jaiswal piling up a second hundred of the series. He's already been the leading run scorer of the series. He's been in phenomenal form. And yeah, we're going to be talking about more of those. But before that, do not forget to check out Boom 11. That is where you can be learning a lot of stuff by playing our premium contest. Go to our shop, buy some goodies, groceries, and enter into our DFS contest. There is Man City and Chelsea starting very soon as well. Make your teams all ready for that. But before that, I just also want to remind you to check the predictor feature before we get straight into the live. Yeah, that's about it. And let's get straight into the live today. I mean, I have Jaren with me. Jaren, what did you make of this day?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be back. I think I was gone a while, but we would have to say that the English batting started off started off as quickly as it ended, and it was almost as if you struck a match because it starts burning very quickly, but then at the same time it goes off that quickly as well. Surprising, you would have to say the kind of short selection that you saw from English players. I think there's been a lot of talk on Joe Root and the way he played, but it just seemed like a house of cards, to be very frank. And I think England did seize the momentum yesterday at 200 for two. They looked all set. I mean, they scored 173 runs in one session, and that was unheard of. But then to capitulate for 119 runs in today's first session, and now India is sitting on a big fat lead at this point in time, 322 runs. They're already close to their first innings target, and with 8 wickets in hand, you would have to say that England will hope for a session that India had today to happen tomorrow, and it could. I think Yashasvi Jaiswal being injured is a big blow for India because that meant that a Patidar had to come in quickly and he couldn't last very long. But you have to say Kuldeep Yadav is playing a very important hand as a night watchman. Now he's played it twice, and both the times he saved India onto the next day without any damage. I think in the first innings as well, he played around 15 odd balls. Today as well, he's played 15, scored 3 runs. So he's become a very important player. I know, I mean, night watchmen aren't rated as much, but for India to not lose a wicket after the wicket of Rajat Patidar was very important.
Absolutely. I mean, you're good in pointing that out, especially when it comes to that final partnership which is ongoing between Kuldeep Yadav and Shubman Gill, and hopefully tomorrow you see someone like a Yashasvi Jaiswal walk into bat, because I still think Yashasvi Jaiswal hasn't had a big injury. So if he can come back and if he can get things going, it'll be important for India. But let's talk about that first session in play today, right? That was such a crucial session because that really set the tone for India for the day. If not for that first session, if you wouldn't have gotten the likes of Joe Root playing that absurd shot, and then that I'll say soft dismissal like Rajat Patidar for Ben Duckett, that really opened the floodgates, because from there on India were able to capitalize, because anything like what you saw yesterday in the last session would have happened in the first session. England were well on course to get the lead.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you would probably have to look at the wickets that fell. Joe Root, it just seemed like, I mean, if you guys have seen those fielding drills that the fielding coaches provide their slip fielders, it just looked like that. Played a lap shot, almost a reverse tennis shot, really. I mean, I think the stats that we heard the commentators give is very worrying for Joe Root, because last 13 innings, he's gotten out 9 times, if I'm not wrong, playing that shot, or 13 matches, I think he's got on playing that shot. But that's still, the frequency of getting out like that is now becoming very alarming. And I think that is not a bad shot still. He gets quite a lot of success. But for him to play that shot, he probably should wait till he gets to 30 odd runs, when he's gotten the lay of the land. Not really played right off the bat. And Joe Root is the kind of player who doesn't need to play that shot as often as he tries to do it. He's someone who can still throw a bowler off their bowling lines. And then right after that, you saw. I won't really blame Bairstow. That was a very good ball. There's nothing much you can do about it. Or at least if you could, not much from the position he got into. But Duckett, the way he got out, Stokes playing, going after the bowling. of someone like Jadeja, where Jadeja was mostly not that dangerous. The player who was dangerous was Kuldeep. It just seemed like Stokes felt like he had to go after Jadeja to counter the lack of runs you got from the other end. And then again, folks, just a very soft dismissal. You can't really blame the rest of the three batters because even though Renan Ahmed has a good first class average, he's not the batter. You're not playing there as a batter. So those three wickets and the way they fell, especially I think Stokes and Folks, that partnership, because I think Duckett, you could still say that it was Rohit Sharma and the way he tagged really put him down, not allowing him to play those reverse sweeps and sweeps. There was an incident where the ball almost got caught onto Rohit's hands in the slips. But especially Stokes and Folks, I think that's the kind of partnership that saved England from a lot of problems before. So for that
Yeah.
partnership to go back to back really hurt England.
Absolutely. We've got a question. Nabil says with four ballers, credits to Rohit Sharma. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Ravichandran Ashwin withdrawing from the test came as a bummer for India for sure because they did not see that coming. And more importantly, that stage in which he had to withdraw 207 for two, and you need an off spinner to take control because he was one of the better bowlers from the last season. He picked up this 500th wicket. It was a good day, but unfortunate for
Yeah.
Ravichandran Ashwin to withdraw from that test match. But Rohit Sharma, the way in which he managed the bowlers, you have to give him credit for that. He really managed the entry points of Ravindra Jadeja, Kuldeep Yadav, Siraj, and Bumrah. Let's talk about Siraj for a moment. How good was he today? I
Yeah.
mean, he executed that reverse swing spell to perfection. Last match you saw Bumrah do it. This match it was more like Siraj who really helped Indian team to get them all out very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you spoke about how Ravichandran Ashwin wasn't there, and that was a big blow. I think let's all hope and pray, about Ravichandran Ashwin. I think his father is the one who's going through the health issues. I think as far as we know, he can come back at any point in time back into the Test match. But that is obviously something that we understand that whole situation, and you want to be with your loved ones when they go through those kind of issues. And I think as anyone who understands life would probably understand and sympathize with Ashwin at this point in time. But just talk about Siraj. I think he became what India expects of Ashwin to do on these kind of tracks, and him being that bowler, because in the past two Test matches he's been slightly out of control and he's given away runs when India really needed to look after control. That's the reason why he did not get bowling. But when the moment called, Siraj, raised his hand, and that really helped Rohit Sharma control the bowling, and that is where India really took charge. And I don't think England expected Siraj to be so potent on these wickets, but those big in-seaming deliveries, those big in-seaming balls that hitting the pads were really trapping the batters, not giving them any roots. Got Folks out in that way, got Oli Pope in that way. A very brave call by Rohit Sharma to go and take the DRS call because they had just lost a review, and that wasn't a very easy review to take because the ball is angling in so much. And for that to be going India's way, I think so. A lot of things went India's way. But you would also have to say baseball really lost its patience. And this is something that I think Rohit Sharma's Pat Cummins has shown. Yeah, you stop giving them runs, and all of a sudden they fall like a pack of cards. And they're
Hmm.
not able. They're not able to show the determination, that fortitude to last that
Yeah.
phase, because that's what people say about Test cricket. It's like life. Sometimes you're getting a lot of runs on the trot. Sometimes you have to brave a good or bad spell for you as a batsman because a good spell is being bowled by the opposition bowler. I think that's where there's still something that these batters need to learn. We saw that with Duckett. Yesterday was absolutely dominant, but today, the moment Rohit Sharma shut down scoring opportunities, wickets falling on the other end, Duckett himself fell, and that's what you don't want a batter who's set to do.
Yeah. Just sending out a message to our Instagram users as well. You can send in your questions via Instagram chat. We'll be taking the questions straight from that. I know you can't send it on YouTube and it won't come up on the screen, but you can send it on the Instagram chat box. We'll take questions from there as well. But yeah, meanwhile, let's continue with the discussion. You mentioned about Joe Root. What do you make of the shot? Because after all, you reckon that is what has caused that particular collapse to happen? Because you mentioned it looked like a fielding drill, and that could have been a lot better. But he's also been appreciated for such shots, right? Ultimately, when you look back, it's a two-edged sword. When it comes off, it looks amazing. You applaud baseball. So I think baseball also has got two faces to it. So when it comes off, for example, last evening the world was on praise for baseball, but when it doesn't, like today morning, the world is against baseball. How do you manage this? Because And I'm glad that England cricket has still not had that doubt of changing their approach. They've still stuck on with what they've gone and what they believed by. And that's why basketball has been successful. They've not lost a test series under Brendan McCullum so far.
Yeah, I mean that's my point exactly, Abel. You saw Ben Stokes batting. Yeah, for instance, I mean just taking that, you do not see Ben Stokes play those short. Those I mean Ben Stokes is someone who plays those shots as well, but you always see him wait for him to get the lay of the land, get the lay of the pitch, understand the bounce and what the pitch is doing before you play that shot. Joe Root played that shot when he was just fresh in the morning. Hadn't really played a lot of deliveries. I think he played that on his 31st delivery when he was just 18 runs in. And you'd have to also realize that most of those deliveries he had played was yesterday night. I mean, yesterday evening and not really today morning. So you have to restart every single session. And for him to have slept on an innings and come in the morning and play that shot, I think that's where it went wrong. You can also argue that the execution, if it had been better, was a very brilliant shot to play because there was no one back. And Rohit Sharma had two slip fielders right there. Most often than not, you don't see a player getting caught like that on the slips. Probably it travels at least minimum to third man, and that's all he needed to do. But he didn't get enough bat on it, and it was an excellent catch by Yashasvi Jaiswal. But having said all that, I think personally, if you ask me, Abel, he probably has to wait at least he's faced 50 deliveries, 50, 60 odd deliveries before he plays that shot because you are almost, understood how much the ball is going to bounce and when you can play that shot before you play such shots.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We've got a question on Instagram right now, which by Elizabeth Sam 1999. She asks, "Will India win?" I mean, that's a very straightforward question. And at this point of stage in the game, at least you have to give that aces are on India. The money is on India to win. I mean, it's a test match for India to lose from here on, isn't it? What do you reckon will be a good total for India to defend on day 4 or day 5? I think India would want to battle at least lunch or tea tomorrow and then declare. So, what do you reckon? India, the favorites, 70% favorites at least at this point to win?
I think even very frankly saying, I think they probably have breached that target. I think 300 odd would have been a very tough one to bat because this pitch is, I think it seems very benign, but the ball is turning, especially someone like Kuldeep Yadav. If you see the way he was turning the ball today, excellent comeback by him, by the way. I mean, he got thrashed left and right. You'd have to say he was getting front hand, backhand in the last innings with the baseball 173. But today morning he came with better plans. He balled balls a lot more on lengths where you won't see reverse sweep and sweep happen, and players had to play him from back foot, and that's where he won that game. So I think they're already there. Only thing that probably hurt them is Ashwin not being there. But I think 300 odd would have been a very tough one to chase because you have to look at how England bats as well, and they're ones who live by the sword, die by the sword. So I think they're already there, and anything from here is a bonus. They already got 22 runs as bonus, and you expect India to at least cross 400. And to be very frank, the way they're going, they should cross 500 plus as a lead. I think 200, 250 odd is definitely on target, and 250 more tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. In addition to what they've scored, so I think 500 plus is on target, and from here, I think 70 odd definitely India's chance. But you never know because India has a tendency to lose early wickets at the start of the day's play, and that is going to hurt them a lot if that happens again tomorrow. Considering they're a batter down.
Yeah, Teju says what a dramatic day. I mean, yeah, yesterday Teju and all of us were very disappointed. We were talking about how India was, toothless at the end of day two's play. They looked like they were jaded. They had no answers to basketball. But I'm glad that they were able to bounce back. And what did you make of Yashaswi Jaiswal's that upshift in strike rate? I mean, he was striking 35 of 74 balls. All of a sudden, 90 balls, he did 79 runs, and from there on, he scored a very quick century. I mean, he's got the gears to shift it in his own will, and he's got two sides of the game. He's got a game where he can be temperamentally very strong, and he's got a game where he can take on the balls. What did you make of it? I think Yashasvi Jaiswal is phenomenal at this point. We've found a gem of an opener in Yashasvi Jaiswal, at least I think in all three formats rather, and he's been doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I mean I think the English batters can learn a thing or two from Yashasvi Jaiswal because the way Yashasvi plays, is exactly what England batters aspire to do, and that's what mostly players play like. I think Ben Duckett, obviously, I still feel he has a lot of technical difficulties. In fact, all you have to look at is the first ball that he faced today morning, where he just basically hung his bat out to dry, but somehow it hits the middle of the bat. So that's obviously there in consideration. You have to say that Yashasvi Jaiswal is a lot more tighter when it comes to his technique. But having said that, you see that when ballers are on top, he respects them. He is still not looking to play a rash shot and go out, and that's the temperament is the right word to use there. I still feel Indian bowlers didn't really do a lot today. They only tightened their bowling lineup, and English batters got out to a lot of sucker balls. Thank you, Kapil. It's good to be back as well. But yeah, they got out to a lot of sucker balls, and those are the kind of balls you don't want to get out to. Those are the kind of balls you either whack into the boundaries or you don't really, really get out to. At least that's your goal. It doesn't matter what you get out of them. But even the shots that they played, yeah, I think Stokes, you can still argue that he went after the ball. He still tried to score, clear the boundary ropes. But Folks' dismissal or Duckett's dismissal didn't seem like they wanted to do anything except for contact, maybe hit the bat. They're just looking to play a shot that probably tailenders look to do. Just hope that the ball hits the bat and escape. Something that I would do if I was facing a Siraj, which is what
I
English
agree.
batters would be more disappointed about.
I mean, I personally felt like English team has thrown away a chance to really put pressure on India. This was an opportunity. I mean, we
Yeah.
talk about moments in Test series. I think this was a series defining innings for England. But from here on, if Yashasvi comes back to bat and with Sarfaraz, who showed glimpses, Dhruv showed a good glimpse as well as what he can do. I think 450 will be a good target for India to set, and I think 450 where India will be happy with. But I still think India, this pitch is very good for batting, and 350 or 370 England will fancy their chances because I think 370 can be chased down in this wicket. It's not a bad wicket. There's no demons in this wicket where 370 will look like something Herculean. I think anything such as 450, 470 is where you'll be like, okay, because India have four ballers, I'm saying 450 is where India will feel comfortable. I
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
think,
Yeah.
what do you think? If Yashasvi Jaiswal is fit, I also want him to roll his arm over in the second, fourth innings for India because I think he's a decent enough leg spinner.
I'll be frank, Abel. I expected him to show up today to ball because I think if England had gone on for a session or so, you probably would have seen him come and ball. Thank you so much, Kapil. I think Abel and Sandipani are great co-captains to have. Vice captaincy is what I'll take. But it really means a lot. Thank you so
Jaren
much.
is Hardik
I just
Pandya,
want to.
he only shows up once in a while, injured, comes back, and soon will take away
No, I think
captaincy
I
as
think I'm
well.
Hardik Pandya because I had other commitments. I was preparing for a trial advocacy, and you never miss a chance to go to Christ University. I mean, for whatever reason. So, but all I'm saying is, when it
Jaren,
comes
you're
to,
studying in
so I
Christ,
really
man.
expected
Where else do you want to go? You're studying in the greatest Christ out there. Where else do you want to go? That's for a different
the lesser.
discussion. But either way,
I
Jaren is
went to a
the
lesser
Hardik Pandya of the stream. He'll soon get the captaincy. Uh, the Duckett
Yeah, I mean,
comment
soon they'll be
post
probably
match
joining.
conference was
Yeah.
hilarious. That they needed for opposition players to play aggressive, referring to Jaiswal. Um, and to be very
Duckett
honest,
and
I
his
thought,
comments. I think Duckett should be very careful of his comments. I think he's grown up a lot more, but if you guys know what I'm talking about, I think Duckett should be worried about the comments he makes.
yeah, I understand. I mean, that sometimes English team in general, not just Duckett. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of them have their own opinion. But do you still see Jadeja being promoted up the order tomorrow, or do you want to see Sarfraz batting at number five?
No, I think Sarfaraz for sure. I think what Sarfaraz did yesterday with English bowlers, where there was a little momentum that English bowlers got, with the wickets that fell all of a sudden, and you felt like okay, English bowlers are going to be in charge. And after that, Rohit Sharma and Jadeja partnership, that is, and Sarfaraz came and played the game that English players probably play. He was very aggressive, didn't let any of the spinners settle. And all of a sudden, India was back on track. India was back in the driver's seat. And the reason I say Jadeja should probably wait his chance is because Will Sarfaraz is really good when it comes to spin bowling, and you don't really worry about left hand right hand combination. The way he took down, all spinners, because all of England spinners except for I think, yeah, you've got primarily you've got Joe Root, the only off spinner at this point in time. The rest of them are really ballers who take the ball away from him, and I don't think Sarfaraz has any issues with that. I think you might ball a ball which turns a lot, and still Sarfaraz might really be on
Yeah,
top of you. And we saw in the way he swept as well. You don't really need to worry about that. And I think, especially if Yashasvi is still there, I think if Yashasvi is there, available tomorrow, probably you send Yashasvi ahead. But otherwise, I don't really see Sarfaraz waiting. And I think it's okay for him to be thrown in there in the middle of it, because he even played very confidently against the likes of Andersons.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, tomorrow's day is going to be so important in that regard as to who bats where and how much lead India can get. I think the first session is so important. You saw in the last 3 days where the first session is where you've lost a lot of wickets. It's the hardest session to bat for some odd reason. You're losing wickets. It's not like the ball is doing a lot or not. I think it's just that next day the momentum is so hard to create. And let's talk about Shubman Gill.
Yeah.
After a duck in that first inning, such an important 62 years played here. What did you make of that? I think he's become this India's second innings kind of a player now. Even if you look at his career, most of his hundreds he scored in the second innings, or most of the runs he scored in the second innings, and I think that's very important for his career graph as well. To be the bank in important situation, this is such an important innings for Shubman Gill.
Yeah, I think he still has that issue with the bobble ball. He's still not able to figure out where the ball goes in or out. But you have to say, if you look at Shubman Gill's batting, he's actually done the best when it comes to third innings. So if India bats first and he plays, I mean, and when they come to the second innings, that's the third innings in a test match, he's got excellent record in that. He's got an average of
He's averaging
169,
40. He was
strike
averaging
rate of
40 before
63
this
as well.
innings.
I'm sorry.
His average was 40 before this innings, so obviously it's going to go up.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's only played two innings as well when it comes to the third innings as well. So that's definitely another aspect as well. But having said that, we would have to say that he is someone who's looked to but probably second innings helps as well. As a batter, you already know what mistakes you have done, or you've seen two batting teams bat by the time you come out to bat in your team's
Yeah.
second innings, especially when it comes to third innings of the test match. So at this point in time, you already know what to expect, and he's done a very good job to counter that. At least at this point in time, his major issue has always been that wobble ball that's balled around good length, where he tries to play in the front foot. Yeah, I think
If
yeah,
that's a
probably.
motivation, then he should be scoring
Um,
runs in every innings he plays.
I think you have to also say that Virat Kohli is not playing. Virat Kohli keeps reminding him by hitting him once in a while when they're playing in the slips together. I think that's what gets Gill started.
Yeah, I hope. Those are methods to get him started and let it be. Just need our players to grind England players under Sun for another 2 sessions. I think more than everything, you'd want to bat as long as possible to deteriorate the pitch as well. If the pitch deteriorates over the next 2 sessions, so be it. But I think considering we have four bowlers, we need at least four
I'll
sessions
give
to ball them
you
out,
another
or
aspect
four and
as
a
well,
half.
Abel. Especially consider the fact that England have got two seamers, one of which is Mark Wood, whose action itself ensures that he lands very heavily on his front foot. It means you're creating rough for the batters on one side of the ground, and that's going to come in very handy for the likes of Kuldeep Yadav, because we saw how the rough is not really formed, and already how Kuldeep Yadav was dangerous bowling around the wicket to right-handers. So that's going to create a lot more problems for England if India bats longer.
Yeah. Having said that, the pitch hasn't really done anything even now, except maybe for a Kuldeep Yadav. The pitch is still very flat. If you're applying yourself, you can still score a lot of runs, and that's what's going to really worry India. It's not like India will lose the match, but even if there has to be a draw at some scenario, right, you would want to get a result out of it. That is to come in day four, score runs, and give yourself the best chance to win. And maybe you have to be a little brave and give them 4.5 sessions and be like, we've given you 450 runs, try to score this. And obviously, if you give them 450 runs, England will definitely go for it. England are not gonna sit there block and say that 450 runs is too much for us to score. Again, Patidar a golden chance. I think he's missed out on 4 innings now, and I think that's a major, especially today, to get out in the way he's done in both the innings. It
Yeah,
was not good enough at the end of the day. It was very poor. I
I
mean,
think.
softest you can say of
Yeah.
the dismissals by a test player.
I mean, you have to say that the way he got out as a pretty standard leg spinner's dismissal, but even though he was dismissed by Tom Hartley, so that's where, if it's a leg spinner, you can still understand they get that extra bit of bounce that comes when you ball from the back of your hand as a spinner. But Tom Hartley, the way it is a very benign delivery, a delivery that you literally smash out of Rajkot and into Ahmedabad. And you know that Rajat Patidar has got that capability. So for him to be dismissed and put India under a dangerous situation where they had to send in Kuldeep Yadav. So that
Yeah.
could have been where the floodgates would have opened. But luckily for us, Kuldeep Yadav is really becoming the Rahul Dravid of this team at this point in time.
Yeah, so we got a question on Instagram which says, "Please bring Boomer prices back. Boomer is not fun as before in fantasy cricket." It's by Shah SHA underscore XEX 7065. I believe I don't know what's your name, but either ways, I want to suggest you that keep playing for the IPL. We're going to bring some exciting prices as well. So stay with the same passion on Boom 11. And remember, you can make your team right now for Chelsea versus Man City, which will be starting in 40 minutes from now. Couple says who will be a replacement for Patidar and Ashwin. I think for Patidar it's going to be KL Rahul if he's fit. Ashwin, we still are unsure. We are unsure of whether his availability is going to be there or not. So we have to wait and
But I
take a
think
call on that.
likelihood
I
of
think
Ashwin
most
coming
likely it'll
back.
be Washington Sundar if that's the case. But either ways, we'll
Yeah.
wait and watch. So that's what I
I think
believe for that
Ashwin's
particular.
possibility of him coming back probably is a lot more because I think the next test match is on 23rd of February, which means you've got probably what 6 more days. And as long as the situation that I mean, obviously his personal problems are there, and as long as that doesn't extend, I think you probably see him back.
Yeah.
But aside from that, yeah, I think Rajat Patidar will most likely get replaced regardless of what he does now. Because I don't think there's much he can do anyway because his chance of batting is gone. And KL Rahul obviously has done well the moment the chance that he's got in the series.
Yeah, and Shubman Gill has scored runs, so which means there is
Yeah.
going to be definitely KL Rahul coming in. That's how you want it to be as well. But when Virat Kohli comes back, is where it's going to be interesting. Do you put KL at 5, then Sarfraz goes out? So that's where I don't want to get into. That's a long way ahead. I hope you don't want a player to fail as well, just because you want to have someone in the team. But it's very different conundrums to think about. I hope Kale can start keeping more often. Then that thing can be sorted. But then Dhruv has kept really
I have
well.
a feeling
Let's
that
be
they
honest.
did not make him keep because they want him fit for the T20 World Cup. They're
I don't
worried
think he's there
that
in T20
keeping
World
under
Cup.
the sun 5 test
I
matches.
don't think he's there for
But
T20 World
he
Cup. It's
obviously
just
gets
that
an option.
I think we lost Jevin right there. But either ways, uh, I wanted to just bring that up before we end the stream right now. I hope you guys have all downloaded Boomer 11 app and you all are playing on Boomer 11 app already. As Jen joins back as well. Yeah, you mentioned about T20 World Cup. I don't think Kale is part of T20
No,
World
I
Cup. It's
mean,
just the concern of
as far
having
as I'm
him in
aware,
test in India.
yeah, I think Abel for that, I still believe the answer for. I mean, I understand what you're saying, and most likely he's still not there. But I don't think he's. You can't rule him out because I still think he has a very good probability that he might end up there because of his keeping
I
and
think
the
he's out of
batting
the pecking
skills.
order until unless he has like a
Um,
tremendous IPL batting
yeah,
at number
I'm
four,
not
number
saying.
five, and
Yeah,
sets the world on fire in IPL at number four,
exactly. I
number
think
five,
as
not
it
as an
stands
opener
right
at
now,
number four, number five.
yeah, as it stands right now, is out of the squad as of now. But that's my point. I think you might see him play in the middle order for LSG and then keep as well. If you see him do that, then you probably expect him to be in the World Cup, or at least expect
Yeah,
that
he
the
will do
selectors have
that,
told him
but
there's a
I
chance
don't
of that.
think he's still your number one option in the T20 World Cup because you're looking at a number six as a keeper in T20 World Cup, and that's at the moment. What's the guy's name who keeps up by Punjab Kings? I forgot his name. That's how relevant he
Jitesh
is.
Sharma.
What's his name, man? Huh?
Jitesh
Jitesh
Sharma, if I'm
Sharma,
not
exactly. I keep forgetting him.
yeah.
Jitesh Sharma. Because
I
in
can't
my
believe you
opinion,
said
only
he's not
one keeper
relevant.
can be there for
You've
India right
just
now.
said you've just said he's most likely the number one option, someone like KL Rahul, and then in the same breath you called him irrelevant.
I mean, that's how he is, right? He's my number one option, but to the world he's irrelevant. That's why I don't have him in top of my mind. But he's a phenomenal player. Jitesh Sharma is a great player. Let's be honest, he's a wonderful player. He's done good, okay, at number six for India, and at wherever he has batted. I don't think any other keeper can bat number six in India right now, other than this guy and
Yeah.
who else? Maybe Dhoni. That's another option from Chennai Super Kings.
Yeah,
So
I
these
mean, do
are
you
only a
reckon
few
he's going to pull a
options here.
Shahid Afridi and come back and
He still
keep?
can. He still can. Give him the captaincy. He will come back. But let's see. One last shot. Anything is possible in
One,
BCC and Indian cricket at this
I
point.
think one
Uh,
last, it's probably his fifth last shot.
yeah, one last shot. Yeah, that's not the right way to put it up. Right, definitely. But we'll end the stream right
I mean,
here.
if
Thank you all for joining both on Instagram and
yeah,
on YouTube. As you all know, we'll be going multi-platform streams from here on, so you can put your comments on Instagram and YouTube. So do not forget to subscribe our channel on YouTube and also follow us on Instagram so that we can keep bringing you this exciting content and play our contest on Boom 11. Once again, I remind you all, the Chelsea Man City game starts very soon, so make your team right now. That's the game you have in hand in like 30 minutes from now. Make your team. Let's see if Man City becomes the table toppers and gets another Premier League title, or can Chelsea, stop Man City's run right now? So these are questions. And Obviously, PSL has started today. Lahore Qalandars taking on Islamabad United, and ILT20 final, which is currently ongoing as well. I don't know if many of you people follow ILT20, but yeah, DC versus MIE. MIE on top of the game, 208 for 3. DC 78 for 3 at this point. They're trailing, and most likely MI will win another title across franchise leagues. And we're not going to talk about the league is rigged or not, but MI is winning this game ultimately, and MI is
I
going to
love
get
how
another
that
title.
was never in the conversation, Abel. That's a very nice way to end the stream with that allegation. That's nice.
Yeah, league is rigged and whatever is not. I'm going to talk about it. You can watch PSL as well. PSL is ongoing right now. If you are a Pakistan cricket fan, and if you're a T20 cricket fan, rather, you can play PSL also with us. There has been a big win in PSL where Islamabad United was bowled out for 44. RCB's total is beaten finally by someone.
Finally,
So that is where,
congratulations. Why do you think Abel is wearing RCB jersey today? It's just so that he can celebrate the fact that the monkey's off the back. In
yes,
the last few episodes,
just joking,
now
man.
he can
No, that's not
finally
the case. I'm just
stand up to me
bullshitting.
and Sandeepan
I'm just bullshitting. I'm just
when the
bullshitting.
IPL
I'm
season
just
comes.
bullshitting. It never happened, guys. It never. I really wish it happened because what is happening was there
It's
was a
okay, Abel. You
rain
can
in the
dream.
game.
You can dream.
Yeah,
Someday,
next time,
someday
next
you're gonna get your revenge on Kolkata.
one day for sure. We take one day at a time, and Lahore Qalandars are playing, big team. Obviously, one of the biggest T20 franchises in the world. They are playing right now with also MI, one of the T20 biggest T20 franchises are in action. Always Manchester United. Okay, good for you. Have a good night.
So, Kapil, would you be
Take
supporting
care.
Chelsea or would you be like let it go to hell?
Does it even matter for Manchester United fans? Is the question right now. Good night, and see you all soon.